Hey, what up? It's Sander. Today I'm going to share a little background about my story, a little bit about me. Yeah, here it is. I was a very depressed teenager. Um, about 16, I had a first suicide attempt. Tried to run my car into a tree. I didn't actually do it, but I veered off the road and pulled it off just in time. A good friend of mine I wrote a letter to in school the next day, and he gave it to the school counselor. I ended up in the ER that night and ended up in the psych ward. Um, I didn't lack things growing up. I had a good childhood, I thought, pretty much. Um, my dad was an alcoholic, um, but I was a pretty depressed kid. I had depression, I guess, and I ended up being diagnosed with bipolar, borderline personality disorder, and some other things. Um, Later on um, in my life, I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. I did have illnesses. Um, I started drinking and smoking pot when I was 15. When I was 17, I started doing snorting coke. I had my problems. During my first hospitalization, I had a social worker tell me, it's all right to be gay, and I was pissed. I was like, the fuck, you just get the hell out of my room, leave me alone. During my second hospitalization, I ended up getting into a lesbian relationship. Um, I thought that's what was right, Um, that relationship lasted about 7 years. I told her during that relationship that I wanted to be a guy. It was just too much money, something I couldn't do. I wanted to do. I really wanted to be a guy, She understood, all that. It's just something that was impossible to do. But I knew from my entire life that's what I wanted. Just something I didn't know was a thing um, until later on. I met my now fiance back in December of 2000. Um, our original anniversary date is February 14th, 2001. We were together for 10 years and then we had to separate. But yeah, I found out in 2015 that transition related stuff would be covered by insurance. And I was like, cool. I was in college at the time. And I started doing papers about transgender people and insurance and all this stuff. And I talked to my best friend, who's my fiance now, and about transitioning. And she's always known that I wanted to be a guy. And she was for it. And I had shown my mom the papers that I had written for college about transitioning and all that stuff. And I eventually finally came out and told her, Mom, I'm transgender. She and she was kind of like, oh, I kind of got that. But she thought I was jumping on the Caitlyn Jenner bandwagon because that was happening back then. I transitioned back in 2015. I started T on December 10th, 2015. And I had my top surgery March 24th, 2016, which people don't rush into. I understand that you want to start things and get things running, but do your research and know what you're doing, because I rushed into it and it was a mistake. The surgeon I picked fucked it up. I ended up having 2 revisions. Thank God the second one was covered, because they wrote everything correctly about what needed to be done and why it was being done. Yeah, I had 2 revisions, and I'm having a procedure done in the office. It's gonna last about 45 minutes to fix the nipple on one side, because it was so messed up. Um, I'm having a hysterectomy done April 11th, 2019. Yeah, I've had a bunch of surgeries, but don't rush. Just don't rush. Find the right surgeon, I tell you. You don't want to end up with a chest that looks like mine. I mean, I'm so glad I had top surgery. I just wish I would have had the surgeon I had for my second revision. Um, so make sure you know what you're doing. Um, yeah, I've been an addict off and on since I was 15, back in 1989. Got real bad back in 2013, hit rock bottom, I guess you would say. My clean date is March 5th, 2014, so I'm coming up on my 5 years. Um, Once I got clean and got my life back together, um, decided to get back with my girlfriend. Um, we got back together June 16th, 2018. We're getting married June 16th, 2019. That's cool. We've always been best friends, even though I almost lost her through my addiction. She told me that she can't be there for me if I was going to be using like I was. That was a rough, low time in my life. It's a hard choice. Drugs are your best friend, and unless you're an addict, you may not understand that, but I almost lost her, and yeah. Um, but my life is right where it's supposed to be. I'm in a good place. I'm in therapy. I haven't been in the hospital since January. I know it's only the end of February, but I'm doing good. I'm in a good spot. So yeah, that's my story in a nutshell. So like, subscribe, hit the notifications if you wanna see what I got in store. I'm gonna be talking about more specific topics up and coming, but I wanted to get my story out there so you would know a little bit more about me. So I hope you liked what you heard, and that's what I got. Later.